rise and shine. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video. Today is going to be my first monthly wrap up and it's going to be for August. So if you don't have a beverage, go ahead and grab one and let's get into the 6 books that I read in August. So the first book that I read in August, which is kind of cheating I guess, I started it the last day of July, but I did finish it in August, so it's going in the wrap up. And that book is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This was the first Abby Jimenez book that I have read, and I am so glad that I picked this up. So in Yours Truly, we have Brianna and Jacob, and they work at a hospital together. They don't really get off on the best foot. Brianna kind of hates him at the beginning, but she learns that there's a reason behind why he was acting the way that he did when they first met. Jacob writes her a letter apologizing for the way that he acted when they first met, and so she decides to give him a second chance. And then while they're at the office, they just kind of pass notes back and forth, which was so cute. Like, I could just imagine the thrill she was feeling or that he was feeling every time that a new letter popped up and the excitement of waiting on that letter. From there, they kind of embark on this like fake dating scenario. The whole thing is super easy to read. I read this in I think 1 or 2 days. This book honestly made me think of The Hating Game, maybe just because they're both set in the workplace. I'm really vibing like workplace romances. And Jacob was the cutest male main character like literally ever. I love a humble, shy guy. It's just something about them. I also really appreciated how the topic of anxiety was depicted in this book. It just really showed that when someone cares about you, they won't make you feel bad about things that you can't control. I just loved how she was there for him and super patient with him. All in all, I gave Yours Truly 4 stars. I'm really excited to read more from Abby in the future. The next 2 books that I read in August, I'm going to talk about at the same time because they go hand in hand. We have acotar and we also have acotar. Picking these up was my introduction to fantasy, and I don't think that I will ever be the same. Genuinely. If you don't know what acotar is about, essentially the book is a fantasy series. We have Feyre, who is a young girl that has to provide for her family in the winter. So she goes hunting to get food for her family and kills this wolf. She wasn't supposed to do that. Feyre killing that wolf is just the first domino of many throughout the acotar series, but that is what got things rolling. I don't think that I'm going to give a synopsis for A Court of Mist and Fury. Essentially, it's just building on what happens in acotar, and I don't want to give any spoilers. So you got to read acotar before you read A Court of Mist and Fury or any of the other books in the series, because you get a lot of world building that's necessary for the rest of the books. So starting out with acotar, I loved this. When I started reading it, I was anticipating it to be difficult to get into the story. In the first few chapters, I did kind of feel that way, but I feel like she gets swept away pretty quickly, and the story's really fast-paced once she gets there. So there was no problem at all adjusting to the fantasy world. There was a lot of world building that I was scared I wouldn't understand, but the author just describes it so well. Feyre's character isn't a whole lot like myself personally. I don't know if I could have reacted as well as she did and handled it as well as she did. And I appreciated seeing how she was so like fearless and brave. I rated acotar 4 stars. Once I finished acotar, I knew that I was going to have to immediately go into A Court of Mist and Fury, and this is the first book that I've actually annotated. I genuinely could not put this book down. I was reading it when I was in a drive-thru, at red lights, waiting in lines in the store. This book had so many beautifully written quotes. Feyre and Rhys falling in love was perfection. I became a fan of Rhys when we were in the first book, Under the Mountain. I could just tell, even though he was supposed to be this bad guy or whatever, that he wasn't. And we got so much more action in this book, and I was loving it. And meeting the rest of the Bat Boys and all of the found family in this book, it just was really good. I also listened to a fantasy mix on Spotify while I was reading this book, and it really set the vibe. Just the setting of the night court, I could picture it in my mind, and it just felt so cozy and comforting. It definitely felt more like Faber's home to me. I swear, this book went by like that. And I think it goes without saying that I rated A Court of Mist and Fury 5 stars. I can see why people say that this is their favorite out of the series. I'm about a third of the way through acotar right now, and I'm enjoying it, but I feel like the beginning of that book is kind of slow. There's definitely been moments that I've had to push through, but I do plan on doing a whole video breaking down my thoughts, opinions on everything acotar related once I do finish the series. The next book that I picked up in August is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I actually just picked this book up and threw it in my beach bag when me and my friends were heading down to the beach for a quick little beach read, and that's exactly what it gave. In this book, we follow Meredith and Whit, and they are on an annual family vacation. They're not related though. Just felt like I should say that. They're on this annual vacation at this vineyard place, and there's going to be a wedding. Throughout the week leading up to the wedding, everyone that's involved in the wedding is playing a game of assassin. Immediately, that sounded so fun, and it was. It made me think of the Gossip Girl episode where they're playing a game of assassin for Nate's birthday. That's one of my favorite Gossip Girl episodes. I really did enjoy how the book was broke up into each day. I thought that was so fun. Also, can we talk about her IG handle? It just was a little bit cringy. I know it had to do with one of the main things in the book, but it just was not what an 18-year-old girl's Instagram handle would be. So that kind of cringed me out a little bit. Never really liked the use of social media in a book. I don't know why, because I use social media in my everyday life, but I hate when authors bring it up, especially if it's like an actual form of social media. I did enjoy the book for what it was, and I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but I probably won't read it again. The next book that I read in August is the only book that I read on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy for it, but that was the MindF series by St. Abbey. I think that's the author. This series, for real, did leave me mind-fucked. If we're just gonna be honest about it, the series is broken down into 5 books that are only a couple hundred pages long each. So when I was reading it on my Kindle and going to each book, it read so quickly because you were only reading 100, maybe 200 pages at a time. I would see my percentage go up and I was like, yes. It made me feel so accomplished, and I think that's why I read this book series so quickly. So in the MindF series, we follow our main female character, Victoria, who has changed her identity and now goes by the name of Lana, and then our male main character, Logan. In the book, Lana is seeking out revenge for something tragic that happened to her in the past, and she randomly meets and becomes involved with Logan, who is an FBI agent. The things that Lana are doing, like, in no way are legal or morally right. The reason that she's getting revenge is justified in my brain, so it doesn't really feel like to me that she's a criminal because I felt like she was justified. Nonetheless, she is breaking the law and dating an FBI agent, and this was so interesting for me. Logan could have figured out the truth at literally any second throughout the whole thing, so I was just on the edge of my seat the whole time, crossing my fingers that she would go undiscovered. I wanted her to see her revenge till the end. I felt like I had been scorned. I did really like their relationship and wish that we got a little bit more romance. I felt like every time the main characters were together, they were just all over one another, nothing really sweet. Also, the relationships between Lana and some of the other members of the FBI team, like Hadley, loved Hadley's character, loved hers and Lana's relationship. This book just was kind of heavy and deep, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like I can't say too much more about the book without spoiling it, so I won't. But the ending was very satisfying to me, and I'm definitely excited to read more dark romance. This was the third dark romance that I have read, and I ended up rating the MindF series a 4-star read. I definitely feel like for me, if we had a little bit more of the romance, this would have been a 5-star for me, no doubt. And last but not least, the final book that I read in August was Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was the first Emily Henry book that I have read, and I can already tell you there will be many, many more in the future. In this book, we are following a friend group of 6 people, though our main 2 characters are Harriet and Wynne. Everyone in this book has been friends for going on a decade. They have this tradition where they go and spend time at a cottage in Maine together. Unfortunately, the cottage is being sold, so this trip up to the cottage is like their last hurrah. What everyone doesn't know is that Harriet and Wynne aren't even together anymore. They haven't spoken in 5 months. But they're determined to not ruin everyone's time. This is the last time that everyone's gonna be together. They just want it to be the way that things used to be. This book made me feel so many different things. I felt something for all of the characters, not just the 2 main romantic interests. I wouldn't even say that this is a romance in my opinion. This book touched on so many profound themes, and they talked about struggles in romantic relationships, yes, but they also talked about difficulty navigating friendships as you get older and maintaining friendships as you get older. It also touched on parental expectations, disappointing those that you love, self-doubt and self-discovery in your 20s and 30s. And I did relate a lot to Harriet as a person. The way that she is a peacemaker and always trying to make sure that everyone else is okay, but never looking inward and saying, am I okay? As a people pleaser, that just really hit home for me. Every couple pages I was just tearing up and would have to take a break because I couldn't see. And the romantic tension in this book was so built up, and I love tension over like smut in a book. And I also did like how this book was alternating between chapters of like present day and the past. And I was rooting for them so hard to find that love again. But really, I don't think it was ever lost. And it's just so apparent that this book has so much love in it. This will definitely be a reread for me. I did rate Happy Place 5 stars. So those are the 6 books that I managed to read somehow in August. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you all enjoy your week, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.